You are watching ETVN Philippines.
Emmanuel, the God with us who saves.
Now we go to the third part of our exploration and presentation. What is the significance of this meeting? What has it got to do with us? Knowing that Jesus, though it was not explicitly mentioned in the Bible, showed himself, met his mother, and that the meeting took place firsthand, what has it got to do with us? Ano ang maidudulot nito sa atin? Ano ang pakinabang natin dito? Well, we begin with this question. If Jesus really met his mother after the resurrection, why do scriptures not record this event? We go back to that question. Bakit hindi sinulat ng Biblia? Bakit hindi nasusulat sa Biblia? Sana sinulat na rin lamang, di ba? Well, the Defending the Bride website tells us this insight. The Holy Spirit would have wanted to leave this out of the Bible. Intention. Perhaps He wanted us to attain something more valuable than just data for our intellect. Maybe God intended the answers to some questions to remain hidden until we pondered those questions with love in our hearts. Because only in the context of love could the real answers be known. Love opens the heart as well as the mind to a deeper understanding of the things of God. Very insightful what the Defending the Bride website tells us about this meeting between Jesus and his mother Mary. Now, this is my take. Perhaps the Holy Spirit who inspired the sacred authors who wrote, right, the books of the Bible, wanted the readers of the Bible, wanted us, right, to behold the resurrection drama, especially that which involves the Blessed Virgin Mary, with the eyes of faith and with the heart that is humble, which is like also that of Mary, di ba? To make it more dramatic, to add story to the meeting of Jesus and her mother, the evangelists, the sacred writers of the books of the Bible, inspired by the Holy Spirit, wanted us to read this important and beautiful story with the eyes of faith and a humble heart, just like Mary. In the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 1, we are told that faith is the realization of what is hoped for and evidence of things not seen. So meaning, there's so much story, drama, when we are able to see what is not obviously seen. And that is faith, according to the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 11. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 13, when the apostles, the disciples were asking Jesus why Jesus keeps on talking to them in parables, Jesus responded that it is so that those who do not believe, those who do not listen to Jesus, would look but would not see, hear but would not listen or understand, right? So the scribes, the Pharisees, those who did not believe in Jesus, that He is the Messiah, those who did not believe all the more in the resurrection of Jesus, they would never see the resurrected Jesus. Because what is needed is absent in the first place. And what is that? Faith. Right? Only the eyes of faith can see the risen Christ. And again, in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus told His disciples and those who are listening, "Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God." You see? Only the humble, those who, regard themselves as fools when it comes to divine matters, those who regard themselves as not knowledgeable to divine things are the persons to whom God will reveal these divine things. Diba? Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God. And Mary, being the purest of heart, right, among the apostles of Christ, must have seen the risen Christ. And remember that moment when Jesus prayed to his Father in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 11, I give praise to you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, for you have hidden these things to the learned and the intelligent, and have revealed them to the little ones. Mary is part of the little ones to whom God reveals divine matters. And it is not a far-fetched idea that one of the divine matters, resurrection of Jesus, would be revealed to Mary. Now, the lack of biblical account we are talking about is itself comparable to that beautiful account of the empty tomb. Recall the story of the empty tomb. Early in the morning, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and realized that the tomb was empty. And then she goes back to the disciples, reporting the matter to them. And when the disciples, specifically Simon Peter and the disciple whom Jesus loved, reached the tomb, right? Well, it was Peter who entered first. And so what was left in the tomb, and then followed by the disciple whom Jesus loved, there was a beautiful mention by the gospel narrative about what transpired with the beloved disciple. It was said there that the disciple whom Jesus loved, when he entered, he saw and believed. Now, this is insightful because we realize that the beloved disciple saw when there was nothing to see. Jesus was not there. The tomb was empty, right? He saw beyond his physical eyes. He saw and believed. He saw with his faith. And so he realized that Jesus really rose from the dead. So the lack of mention about Mary in the empty tomb account is in itself comparable to the empty tomb account. It is not there, but it does not say it did not happen. Only with the eyes of faith can we see that actually happening. So, again, in this three-part presentation about the meeting of Jesus and his mother, we realize that after all, even if it was not explicitly mentioned in the Bible, Jesus met his mother. We ask, did Jesus meet Mother Mary when he rose from the dead? The answer is yes. If the reason Jesus met his mother, when did the meeting take place? We realize that Jesus met his mother first. Mary was the first one to see the risen Christ. The apostles, one by one, they went their way. When Jesus was arrested, Mary remained the same, remained with Jesus all throughout. Well, what lesson does this leave to us? Maybe we are invited to see in Mary a model which we can imitate. Not to leave Jesus, okay? To be with Jesus all the way, in every aspect of his life, right? To be with Jesus in his suffering and in his glory. Because some of us would be with Jesus only in glory. When our life is, smooth sailing, when our life is okay, our faith in Jesus, our faith in God is also okay. But when we experience sufferings, trials, and difficulties, dumadating sa punto that tumatalikod tayo sa Diyos. Diba? But Mary was with Jesus in all the aspects and episodes of the life of her Son. Sa kanyang paghihirap and even sa kanyang glory. Now we have established that Mary met Jesus after his resurrection. We have established that Mary, in fact, was the first to see the resurrected Jesus. But let us push our imaginations and minds a bit further. We asked this question, what happened? Because remember, when Jesus died, after 3 days, it was only after 3 days that he rose again from the dead. We ask, what happened between the death of Jesus and the resurrection? Those 3 days. Well, the Articles of Faith tells us that he descended into the realm of the dead. And the reason being is to collect the souls of the righteous who died before the redemption, right? The redemption event. But we ask, who do we think Jesus met in the realm of the dead first? Okay. So we have established it was Mary whom Jesus met after his resurrection. But in those 3 days of absence, when Jesus descended to the realm of the dead, who did Jesus meet? Right? Sister Mary Ada of the Congregation of the Sisters, Servants of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, wrote a poem entitled Limbo. And this poem is insightful to us as to who Jesus met in the realm of the dead. And I would like to share with you this beautiful poem. The title of the poem is Limbo. And the poem goes like this. Ancient grayness shifted, suddenly and thinned, like mist upon the moors before a wind. An old prophet lifted, a shining face said, he will be coming soon, the Son of God is dead, he died this afternoon. A murmurous excitement stirred all souls. They wondered if they dreamed, save one old man who seemed not even to have heard. Before I continue, we may ask, who could this old man be? We continue. And Moses, standing, hushed them all to ask if any had a welcome song prepared. If not, would David take the task? And if they cared, could not the 3 young children sing the Benedicite, the canticle of praise they made when God kept them from perishing in the fiery blaze? A breath of spring surprised them, stealing Moses' words. No one could speak, remembering the first fresh flowers, the little singing birds. Still, others thought of fields new plowed, or apple trees, or blossom bowed, or some the way a dried bed fills with water laughing down green hills. The fisher folk dreamed of the foam on the bright blue seas. The one old man who had not steered remembered home. And there he was, splendid as the morning sun, and fair as only God is fair. And they, confused with joy, knelt to adore, seeing that he wore 5 crimson stars he never had before. No canticle at all was sung, none toned a psalm or raised a greeting song. A silent man alone of all the throng found a tongue, not any other. Close to his heart, when the embrace was done, old Joseph said, "How is your mother? How is your mother, son?" Beautiful, isn't it? So who did Jesus meet in the realm of the dead? If you go back to the poem, there was the mention of the Old Testament figures, Moses, David, the three young men in the fiery furnace. And there was this old man, right? This old man. The rest of the Old Testament figures was surprised to see that the Son of God wore the wounds of the cross, because they realized when they saw God, he was not wearing the same wounds, right? When they saw Jesus, he was wearing the wounds, right? He had the wounds already. They were surprised, except for one man. And who was that? It was Joseph, right? Saint Joseph. He was not surprised at all, because perhaps, just like Mary, who knew everything about Jesus, even the resurrection of Jesus, the death of Jesus on the cross, all along, Joseph also knew. Just like Mary, who saw the resurrected Jesus, Saint Joseph was also privileged. Even we may think that privileged to be the first one to ever embrace Jesus after the redemption event. Thank you for being with us in the presentation of Jesus, the resurrected Jesus, meeting with his mother Mary, a theological insight. Have a blessed Easter.